Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sunday Wire. I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. We're streaming out live on the Alternate Current Radio Network, also at 21stcenturywire.com. We're also streaming out live, hopefully, on Rumble. No technical glitches, hopefully, this week. But we shall see. YouTube, Facebook, Live, X, as well as on BitChute. And we'll be uploading later to Odyssey and other platforms as well. Again, on the audio streams after the show, iTunes, Spotify, all the major audio streams were there, syndicated right across the internet. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a interesting program today, interesting things to discuss. We'll be joined by some of our teammates, hopefully, in the second Overdrive segment. And we'll be talking about, among other things, Donald Trump's recent Arabian odyssey. You probably saw this trip this week. It was regrettable on many different levels. It was beyond cringeworthy. And we'll go through some of the things of most concern in a minute. But also, I want to just remind everybody, listen, we are so heavily shadow banned on YouTube, especially on X, on a number of these platforms. We had proof from Grok that we are shadow banned on individual posts, but my whole account at 21 Wire, you can see there in the bottom of the lower third. So we're definitely throttled. So we have very high engagement, a very low visibility. So we need you to like and subscribe, especially on YouTube. YouTube's more or less frozen our account around 15,000 followers for the last 10 years. 10 years. And I found out from the Twitter files, when we found my name, our accounts on the shared dashboard for censoring and throttling accounts, which was released during the Twitter files. Some of that information that was public, but I know that same dashboard was used by YouTube and Meta and all these other companies. Meta seems to be loosening up a little bit on the throttling after 10 or 12 years. So that's how long 21st Century Wire has been prevented from growing. So if you wonder why a lot of our accounts were follower accounts, aside from Twitter, but the other ones were frozen at their sort of 2014, 2015 levels. So the only way to break this is we need you to like and subscribe and share the links, especially from YouTube. But on X, of course, if you can repost us, if you can like us as well on these live streams, it helps massively. And I'm currently fighting with X for Elon to stop censoring, to stop shadow banning some of these accounts, especially ours. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of movement on that. But it just shows you how dirty the whole game is. And why would we be throttled? Because on X, okay, it's obvious all of the different censorship regimes that were being implemented by Google, YouTube, Facebook, etc., the old Twitter. It was for many reasons. Some of it was geopolitical. Some of it was Israel. A lot of it during, of course, 2020 to 2022, 2023 was COVID and vaccines. So we unfortunately, we have been out front on all of these issues from day one. On Ukraine in 2014, we're out front on COVID on day one in 2020, out front on the vaccines before they were even released. And then, of course, October 7th, Ukraine, Syria, etc. So we have been, and Hillary, Trump, Russiagate back in 2015. We were way out front on that, way beyond a lot of independent media outlets. So because being out front is not good if you want to avoid being throttled or censored. It's much safer. It's much better to come in late when you're talking about issues. Unfortunately, I have this bad habit, and so do my colleagues. We have this horrible habit of not waiting 18 months or a year to get our teeth into something controversial. We tend to do it straight away or even before the event has actually happened. And to our detriment, that we have to pay a heavy price for that in terms of subscribers, visibility, views. All of these things are hurt massively because we are getting out front on the story. So what can I do? Unfortunately, my loyalty is to our audience. My loyalty is to our listeners, our readers at 21st Century Wire, the people who have stuck with us from the beginning, from 2010, 29, 2010, 2011, 12. And a lot of those people are still with us. And that, and future listeners, future readers and viewers, our loyalty is to our audience. It's to our readership. That it's not to the censors in Silicon Valley. I cannot do what some of these mainline podcasters do, which is either toe the government line or wait till it's safe before you start talking about the issues. Because God forbid, I don't want to lose my $100 million Spotify deal or whatever. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have those types of numbers. And one of the reasons we don't have some big numbers on a lot of platforms is because we have been throttled, and that's been shown. It's been proven. A number of these sites. So we could go into that later at another time. It's, to me, I'm sick. I'm tired of even having meant to mention it, but we need your help to physically share, like, subscribe, do whatever. Really, really, that's the only way we're going to, through brute force, break through this glass ceiling that's been imposed by the gatekeepers on these corporate platforms, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll do our best and to do that, and we appreciate your help in doing that as well. Now, the subject at hand is Donald Trump's glorious visit to the Middle East. We'll talk about this with Hesher, with Ruckus, maybe Basil Valentine later in the Overdrive segment, but we'll kick it off. We'll get started here. So Donald Trump goes to much fanfare to Saudi Arabia, and we tweeted out before. We spoke about this with Freddie. Of course, I warned to say, please, Donald, whatever you do when you go to Saudi Arabia. And the tweet got, I can't get massive traction on X at the moment. Elon and his team of censors has frozen my account at 194,000 followers since about the last week of March. That's the last time I remember the number and checked. It's been stuck for almost 2 months on that exact number. So anyway, we tweeted out, it got 150,000 views or something. Should have got 1 million views based on the retweets. We had 3,500, 4,000 retweets or whatever. Should get more views if we're other accounts that were more pro Elon, pro Trump, pro Israel would probably get more traction. But anyway, we're none of those things. But I said, Donald, whatever you do, please don't shake the hand of Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, aka Ahmed al-Sharaa, the so-called president of Syria, the appointed himself president. He's the head of al-Qaeda in Syria, former deputy of al-Baghdadi at ISIS. Okay, he's a head chopper, a wanted terrorist. There's a U.S. DOJ put a bounty on his head for $10 million for the murder of U.S. soldiers, of Druze minorities, and the list goes on. So while he is there, while Trump's in Saudi Arabia, so is Jolani. So the last thing you want to do is get a photo op shaking hands with a terrorist, not just any terrorist, like the top terrorist. So Trump, talks a big ball game over the years about, oh, we're fighting ISIS and radical jihad, and so are his cabinet people, giving it all this on their sort of war on terror rhetoric, okay, sounding all neocon, okay, but Trump just basically jumped the shark in Saudi Arabia. He went there, gave this virtue signaling speech. We played a lot of it on the Midweek Wire. Freddie Ponton and I went through that pretty well, but just to give a little recap here, we've got this excellent report up on 21stcenturywire.com. This is actually a report about U.S. Special Forces who were training al-Jolani, our U.S. Special Forces, Special Ops, Navy SEALs. We're training Jolani and al-Qaeda. Okay, do you guys got that? That was through the CIA. Through these were ex SEALs and U.S. Special Forces, and they shared their information in what's called the SOFREP report. And thank you to Freddie Ponton and our research team that managed to put this together with a nice summary, along with all of the requisite links you would need to prove the case that the U.S. was allied with al-Qaeda, al-Nusra in Syria to overthrow Assad. Okay, it's all here. There's Jolani himself wanted by the U.S. government, $10 million bounty. And here's all the information. Those are the receipts, folks. All the receipts here, including Jihadi John, the famous Jihadi John. This is all a U.S. covert and U.S. allied covert operation. British are involved, French are involved, and the Israelis are deeply involved in this too. This was along with the Qataris and the Saudis, okay, and the Turks and Turkey, all hands on deck to overthrow Assad. Fortunately, it took them a long time. But anyway, this is a report by Brandon Webb, former Navy SEAL, best-selling author. There it is. Those are all the receipts and links, okay? This isn't just Timber Sycamore. Operation Timber Sycamore, which was the weapons trafficking side of this operation, but we're talking about the train and equip and just the general U.S. and Western special forces that were embedded with al-Qaeda in the field during battles. Okay, just so you understand, that's what we did. Our governments did. Why they pretended to be opposing al-Qaeda. And here's Donald Trump this week. There he is with Mohammed bin Salman and al-Jolani. There's Trump. That's the U.S. president platforming a terrorist. Not just any terrorist, the top terrorist. So you guys should be under no illusions as to the significance of this. Okay, this is basically, if you want to understand, this is basically a slap in the face by the Trump administration to every single U.S. serviceman, veteran, wounded in action, family members of anybody injured or killed in the so-called war on terror. Okay, and you know, I don't want to get into a debate about, you know, who's really backed and created and backed al-Qaeda, because you guys know our views on that, which are factual. I don't want to really talk about 9/11 today. Okay, who did it, how it was done, etc. We'll just go by our own government's narrative that there was a, quote, war on terror, and the U.S. is supposedly against groups like ISIS and al-Qaeda. So why is the U.S. president, the 47th president, standing there like a clown with al-Jolani? Someone who has blood on his hands. Trump is shaking blood-soaked hands, American blood on those hands. Okay, this is a slap in the face by the Trump administration to all of those servicemen that were shoved to the front of this bogus war on terror. Okay, as bad as the war on terror was and stupid as it was, at least have the respect not to go and to platform and to big up the guy who was, you know, the top terrorist of the day. He is actually in operational terms much bigger than Osama bin Laden, and also in terms of the groups that he was commanding, the length of time, and the sustained backing he got from our intelligence services and from the Turkish intelligence and Israeli intelligence. Okay, Jolani, aka President Ahmed al-Sharaa. So there's Donald. Okay, there he is, Abu Donald. We're going to call him Abu Donald. Abu Donald, and just to remind people, saved Private Jolani in Idlib in 2018. And Abu Donald bragged about it in 2019 at the time. So that was during Trump's first term. What Trump did was basically prevent the counteroffensive by Assad, the Russians, Iranian special forces, and Hezbollah, and the Syrian Arab Army to retake Idlib and to flush out and deal with the 30,000 plus terrorists that were accumulating in the Idlib province. Al-Qaeda and ISIS occupied the Idlib province of Syria, supported by Turkey, rat lines coming from Turkey. Okay? And this was going to end, and Trump stopped it. He stopped it in multiple ways. And this is when Lindsey Graham went nuts. Remember when they said, oh my gosh, they're going for Idlib? Graham and everybody took to the airwaves, went absolutely ballistic, lobbied Trump heavily. Trump threatened to bomb Damascus and a whole bunch of other targets. And then Erdogan lied and said he's in the U.S. said, "Oh, Turkey's going to deal. Don't worry, Turkey will deal with the terrorists in Idlib." Of course, Turkey lied. Okay, the thief of Aleppo, Erdogan, lied, and he built up the terrorist army, Jolani. Okay, so for whatever reason, and there were back channels with Russia as well. So there's a lot of different things going on. They pulled back on the counteroffensive. Syria should have gone for it, but who knows? They could have. U.S. could have escalated. By this time, Donald Trump had already put boots on the ground in Syria. Donald Trump put boots on the ground in Syria starting in 2017. He started a new war in Syria. Okay, this lie that Trump didn't start any wars in his first term is a lie. Okay, he put U.S. troops on the ground, occupied 25% of Syria for no reason other than to occupy the oil fields, the wheat fields, to steal Syria's energy and agriculture, while the U.S. and the EU were sanctioning and strangling Syria. It was all to try to get regime change on behalf of Israel. So Abu Donald is the best friend of al-Qaeda. He saved al-Qaeda, saved Jolani. And here he is thanking Jolani, believe it or not. I mean, honestly, you couldn't make this up. It's regrettable to say the least. But here's Trump himself. This was after the Saudi meeting. First of all, what I just told you about Idlib in 2019, and I played this before, we have to play it again. This is Trump bragging about saving Jolani in 2018. This is him, this was at I think it was a big rally or something in 2019 at the end of his first term. He was boasting that he saved 30,000 terrorists in Idlib. Okay, supposedly Donald Trump against al-Qaeda and ISIS. Totally not. He is the biggest supporter of any U.S. president in history, has done more to support al-Qaeda and ISIS during his first term and now his second term than any other U.S. president, I would say. Because he did the one thing, he saved them from being extinct. He did it by occupying northeastern Syria. That saved ISIS, more or less, allowed them to remain, to give the U.S. an excuse to occupy, and he saved al-Qaeda in Idlib and Jolani. Here he is bragging about it.
And Syria is a mess. And I was responsible, and I hope it stays that way, when I put out on social media a few weeks ago about Idlib province. I said, don't do it. And I'll tell you, it happened where I was at a meeting with a lot of supporters, and a woman stood up and she said, there's a province in Syria with 3 million people. Right now, the Iranians, the Russians, and the Syrians are surrounding that province, and they're going to kill my sister, and they're going to kill millions of people in order to get rid of 25,000 or 35,000 terrorists or enemies of theirs, but I think we can call them terrorists. And I said, that's not going to happen. I didn't hear of Idlib province. And I came back to New York, and I picked up the failing New York Times. I hate to admit it was the New York Times, but it was the failing New York Times. And I opened it up, not on the front page, but there was a very big story. I said, wow, that's the same story that the woman told me that I found hard to believe, because how would anyone do that with 3 million people? And it said that they were being surrounded, and they were going in and starting literally the next day, they were going to drop bombs all over the place and perhaps kill millions of people in order to get 35,000 terrorists. And I put out on social media and elsewhere, I gave Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, everybody these orders. Don't let it happen. I said, don't let it happen. That doesn't mean they can't be selective. They can't be, go in and they've got to do what they've got to do with terrorists, assume the terrorists, but don't kill millions of people. And it stopped. You saw that. Nobody's going to give me credit, but that's okay. That's okay, because the people know. I have had more Syrians thank me for that. This was about 4 weeks ago I put that out. I said, they're surrounding a city of 3 million people. They're going to start bombing the city. Don't let it happen. And I meant it, too. I meant it. And millions of people have been saved.
Absolute boulder dash. Okay. It's really, I mean, I don't want to call a U.S. president an idiot, okay, or a moron, but the things Donald Trump says are so ridiculous. There is no city in Little Idlib province that has 3 million people in it. Doesn't exist. So, like, I'm not sure. Does he know what he's talking about? I don't think he does. He's just making up stuff to sound and to not to be too tough on Trump, but a lot of his audience are really clueless on stuff like this. Okay. And I've been critical of Republicans that are basically their brain gets wiped for anything outside of U.S. territorial waters. They just can't, they don't know anything. D- d- America's funny. Democrats tend to be often way off on domestic issues, but seem to be more cogent on international issues. Republicans seem to be quite on it on a lot of domestic issues, but clueless, absolutely vacant, out to lunch on international issues and geopolitics. This is just a weird inverse equation of U.S. partisan politics historically, anyway. So, what's Trump talking about? That Syria would have killed millions of people in Idlib, the entire Idlib province. Okay, Idlib city, the biggest city he's talking about. I don't know what the population at that time was, but it wasn't anything near what he's talking about. Maybe I don't even know if it was a million, quite frankly, at that point. So, but there were 35,000 terrorists there, which he admits. So he's saying, oh, we can't, they're going to go and kill millions of people to get these terrorists. You, but I'm not saying that you can't be selective. And what did the U.S. do when it bombed Mosul? When it went scorched earth in Mosul and Raqqa, supposedly to kill 400 ISIS fighters that were still 400 that were still holding out in Raqqa, I think, and in Mosul, maybe like 2,000. They flattened both of these cities. Mosul's the second biggest city in Iraq. They destroyed it. They destroyed Raqqa. Who knows how many civilians they actually killed? Nobody knows for sure. There's a lot of arguments and controversy over those figures. Obviously, the U.S. doesn't want the real figures to come out. And then Fallujah. What did the U.S. do in Fallujah? It flattened the city to get what they called terrorists, but these were people resisting a U.S. occupation. You see? Oh, but that's okay. When the U.S. does that, absolutely fine. But somehow, magically, Syria, with their small air force, is going to what? Kill millions of people? It's so stupid what he is saying. Or was he afraid that Syria and Russia could do like what Israel's doing right now in Gaza? What's Israel doing in Gaza? Flattened a city with 2.5 million people in it, forcefully displaced 1.5 million or something like that, have killed somewhere around 100,000. If you go by all the excess deaths and the additional ancillary deaths after the fact, not directly from airstrikes, the number is probably around 250,000, 250,000 in 20 months. Israel's managed. Okay. Is that what Donald Trump's afraid of? That something would happen like what Israel's doing to Gaza? And he's not going to lift a finger to stop Israel. Not going to lift his little finger to do anything. Just won't even stop Israel or force Israel to allow food and water and aid into Gaza, essential aid, creating a famine, starving the surviving Palestinians, women and children. No compassion there. But some random Syrian woman came up who was with the, quote, Syrian opposition, paid for by the U.S. government. And he makes it into this story like, oh, so many Syrians are thanking me for what I did. Absolutely ridiculous. You see, that was all part of the destabilization and destroying, suffocating, strangling the country of Syria over 14 years and 3 or 4 U.S. administrations, three U.S. administrations to strangle that country in order to get rid of the government, because the government is the only one that hadn't normalized relations or wasn't a major country there that wasn't going to bow to Israel. Egypt had already bowed. Jordan had bowed. Lebanon is a different story. It's a smaller state, and it didn't have a functioning government for a number of years. Still doesn't. So what's Trump talking about? You know, what a hypocrite. He hasn't moved to stop and save the children of Palestine. But somehow he's claiming he saved millions of children in Idlib. Ridiculous. He should be held account for saving al-Qaeda's terrorist army. And while he is in Saudi Arabia this week, there he is, shaking hands with Jolani. At the moment he's shaking hands, Jolani's bearded thugs shouting radical Islamist battle cries are slaughtering Alawites and Christians in Syria. At the very moment, Trump was platforming a terrorist leader. And MBS is looking on with a big Cheshire cat smile because he knows this is the moment. This is one of the, great humiliations of America. One of the great Donald Trump has, opened Pandora's box once again. Here, it wasn't enough to save this terrorist. Donald Trump is trying to legitimize him. That's why we call him Abu Donald. Saving Private Jolani. Make a great Hollywood blockbuster. Actually, we're probably going to produce a wonderful, beautiful film, Saving Private Jolani. This is his best friend. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. What a hypocrite. What an absolute hypocrite. So that's why we put on the show page today when we sort of did the graphic for today's program, little tongue in cheek, but we'll put that up on screen in a moment. But that's where it is, folks. There it is. He looks so good looking and such a strong past. He's got a very strong past. Only fanatics. So Donald Trump was fangirling Jolani, okay, on the Air Force One with the press crew after, on the way to Qatar, I think it was. He was fangirling Jolani, but that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to fangirl. He had to keep going with it. Here's Trump after he gets back to the U.S. And it was so when he was in the Gulf, he was saying what a good-looking, attractive terrorist Jolani. I mean, it's really cringeworthy, embarrassing. Okay, a strong past. It's got you mean his terrorist past? It's not a past. He's still running pogroms in Syria against ethnic minorities, religious minorities, including Christians, which are the only ones Trump cares about anyway, or Republicans pretend to care about, but they actually don't give a toss. If they did, they would have imposed sanctions on Syria or done something. They'd fire cruise missiles at Assad willy-nilly for anything, even a fake chemical weapons attack, which Trump did twice. One of them at the insistence of his daughter Ivanka, apparently saw pictures of the babies. Oh, Daddy, please do something. I think that was after Khan Shahun. Maybe. Or maybe that was Duma in 2018. It was Khan Shahun in 2017, Duma in 2018. Unbelievable. So the fangirling of Jolani didn't stop in the Gulf. Trump kept going. Let's take a look. We'll bring this one up on stage. This is Trump. Well, we'll play this. This This is quite something. We'll bring this back to the beginning. So I just can't. It's just beyond me how a U.S. president could engage in this type of silliness. To be quite frank, it's really, really difficult. Let me see. We'll play this. Actually, we've got this clip now. Listen to this. Actually, no, we'll save that for. Yeah, we'll save that for later. We'll save that one for later. We don't have that clip just now. We'll try to get it though. But it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Where does it end with this guy? We'll play that clip of Trump during the Overdrive segment when we come back. We'll re-cue it up. But anyway, pretty incredible stuff. So, and again, it didn't end with that. And my last thing I'll say is Trump basically said that there's going to be $11 trillion of investment. $11 trillion of investment from the Gulf for the U.S. They don't have 11 trillion combined in GDP for the next 5 years. These countries, okay, what the hell is he talking about? He just made it up. These are memorandums of understanding. They're not trade deals or anything. I mean, if you weren't bamboozled by the tariff shenanigans, are you going to swallow this one? Oh, I've got 11 trillion in investments. Stupid. He has no such thing. Now, there might be some commitments to buy U.S. high-speed AI chips over a 10-year period or whatever. We're talking about a couple hundred billion from select U.S. companies at some point. Is that what we're dealing with? That's what we're talking about. That's kind of like all it is. So unbelievable. So I really don't know where this guy gets off. It is really just too much. It's really too much. The Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, U.S. president going to the Gulf, groveling for cash, groveling for money to save the U.S. economy that is tanking. We're 36 trillion in debt. Okay. Running a global empire is expensive. Okay. It's expensive. And all the hype about Doge, Elon saving money. And then Trump wants to raise the U.S. defense budget to 1 trillion. It was already 1.2 trillion before. We broke that down on previous shows. So it was 850 billion on paper. It was 1.2 trillion in real money. Okay, number of sources for that. Just type in 1.2 trillion U.S. defense budget 2024 or 2023. Okay, so Trump says he's raising the official budget to 1 trillion. Then the new budget is going to be 1.4 trillion in real terms, based on previous DoD expenditures. Any idiot, any fool with Google access can work this out. But apparently, no fool in the Trump cabinet or the Trump government can somehow put that together or understands that, or they're just basically selling you a bill of goods, which is exactly what they're doing. So 1 trillion. It's already 1.2. You raise it 150 billion on paper, that's going to put you up to probably 1.35. That's nearly 1.4, which is very close to 1.5 trillion. So anything Doge savings are probably in real terms going to amount to something between 100 and 150 billion. 100 to 150 billion. by the end of the year. And I predicted before Trump's term on multiple programs that after the first year in Trump's second term, they will have spent more money than the last year of the Biden administration. So that shows you Doge is a public relations marketing scam for Elon's brand. And for Elon and Palantir and all these guys and Peter Thiel to basically get their technocratic applications in to run government. That's what the layoffs are for. Those contracts are going to the lords of tech. That's what that's all about. It doesn't mean they're going to spend any less. It doesn't mean the U.S. isn't going to be drowning in debt. Here's Trump. Oh, we have to play this before the break. Here's Trump fangirling Jolani. This is embarrassing. This is after gushing over the terrorist leader while he was in the Gulf on Air Force One. Here's Trump when he got back home.
Chance. I met the leader. I met the new leader, and handsome guy, by the way, young, handsome. And I said, you have quite a past. You've got a tough past. But when you think about it, are you going to put a choir boy in that position? I don't think so. It's going to be a little bit tough. It's a tough part of the world.
So you're willing to give him a shot?
The word they say, it's a nasty neighborhood. It's a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I thought he was really, I thought he was terrific. He was so thankful about the sanctions because he knew he's not going to be able to bust through.
So maybe it'll be a turn there. We'll see.
I think he has a real chance. He's a strong guy.
Just completely clueless. Why were the sanctions on Syria before that? Why? Why were they on the Assad government? For no reason at all. Just to strangle the country. And they say, Assad was killing his own people. Assad was killing terrorists that were being sent into Syria by the U.S., by the CIA, through the operation we just showed you. We'll put it up on screen once again. So they sent in terrorists trained by the U.S., people like Jolani, who recruited all these crazed fanatics, these bearded killers. There's the receipts. Just one example in the SOFREP report, which is up at 21stcenturywire.com. Okay, so they sanctioned Assad for fighting these maniacs. Does that make sense? Because that's what happened. But Jolani, this guy that Trump is gushing over here, he is killing his own people now as we speak. He is a terrorist with a terrorist government supporting foreign terrorists running around Syria, killing people. That's what they supposedly sanctioned Assad for supporting the Palestinian political wings and groups that were based in Syria because they couldn't go back to Palestine. So the U.S. sanctioned him for that for like the last 20 years. And now the U.S. put a terrorist in Syria and they're lifting sanctions. Abu Donald is the best friend of al-Qaeda ever in history. Full stop, period. Nobody close. That's the reality of it. And I'm sorry if that hurts the feelings of MAGA people or diehard Trump supporters, but you guys got to wake up and take the scales off your eyes at this point, because things are not going to get better from here on out. Okay, things could get progressively worse. And the worst part about this, and we'll go to break in a moment. I've gone over where we wanted to break a few minutes ago. Sorry about the timing. Look, Trump sent Steve Witkoff. Listen closely. Trump sent Steve Witkoff and his team to negotiate with Hamas to release this Eden Alexander, this quote Israeli American. You notice if they suddenly become American if they have an American passport, but if they don't, they're Israeli or depending. While they're fighting for the IDF, they're Israelis, but as soon as they're taken captive, they're American. Okay, just saying. So Witkoff promised the Palestinians that they would let in aid if they released this so-called hostage who was a serviceman. He's a POW, basically. Israel's calling it a war, so anybody whose IDF or reservist is a POW. If Israel's going to call it a war with Hamas, then they're POWs, not hostages. Basic. Okay. So Witkoff, the great negotiator, pulled a bait and switch on the Palestinians. He got the soldier released, and then he didn't let U.S. did nothing to put any pressure on Israel to allow food, water, and medical supplies in. So Witkoff lied to the Palestinian side, promised them something he had no ability to deliver. In good faith, the Palestinians released this person. Trump got a media win, got a big W. Witkoff got a big W. Even Netanyahu took a victory lap for it and thanked Trump. But they had to lie to get that at the expense of Palestinian civilians being starved, bombed, and killed, slaughtered as we speak. Israel has announced total warfare against the Palestinians in Gaza. Total warfare. They want to do the final phase of the ethnic cleansing of Gaza and the genocide of the native Palestinian population in broad daylight. That's what's happening. So why would anybody trust the United States after pulling a stunt like they did this week? So the whole show in Arabia, all of this carry on was a distraction to allow Netanyahu to carry on with the genocide. And it worked. Hardly anybody's pushing back on Netanyahu. I mean, the press are beginning to push back. God bless them after 20 months. Mainstream media. Oh, thank you. The cavalry has finally arrived. But for the last 20 months, it was like waiting for Godot. Waiting for Godot. The only person who arrived to save the Palestinians were the Iranians, Hezbollah, and the Yemenis. They're the only people that did anything to try to stop Israel, to try to pull the IDF away from slaughtering tens of thousands, will end up being hundreds of thousands, innocent Palestinian civilians, the native Palestinian population, including Christians, Muslims, everybody, women and children, etc. That's the truth. Okay, you may not like it, depending on what politics you're loyal to, whether you're a Zionist or a Christian Zionist or a MAGA Republican. You may not like the truth, but it's still the truth. You may not like it, it's still the truth. There's nothing that I've told you just now that cannot be fact-checked. If we had the staff, I'd put links for everything in the show notes, but we don't have the resources. We can go rewind and go look it up. Just use a search engine or go to 21stcenturywire.com. Read the SOFA report, which we showed you before. Listen, we're going to go to break here. Again, I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. This is the Sunday Wire, episode 547 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis radio program. And we'll also hit the comments as well in the Overdrive segment. That should be very, very interesting, especially after last week. Look, we'll take a break right now. And wow, Peyote for president. I have to play this track again because it's such a banger. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
All of the pictures left unpainted, all of the games they left unplayed, all the laughter in the playground, all of the art they never made. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. All of those voices left in silence, all with their names written in kind, lest their bodies poked from rubble, lifeless empty dolls to find. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. faces of the million Palestinian children. I hear the crying, helpless children, God's most precious and most dear. I hear them begging for the reason. How could you ever leave us here? I close the eyelids of a million Palestinian children. So what do we really stand for? Is this how our future's made? And when we ever find the courage to stand up unafraid, I tear away the persecution of the Palestinian children. Rise up and be the guardians of the Palestinian children. To respect our obligation, every creed and every nation, 'cause every soul deserves protection. Save the Palestinian children. Save the Palestinian children.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the profound honor of addressing this great citadel of democracy for the fourth time.
And thanks for bombs that wreck Gaza one more time. For helping me pin it on Iran, that's the crime. Let me spin you a tale, talk you in its bedtime.
Our world is in upheaval.
We brand our foes as evil, it's our goal to spell. Labels ready-made, we wield them well. Terrorists, anti-Semites, animals all on sale. Every option laid out, no detail is too frail. Let me share my plan, it's all about me. Survival's the goal, friends, just let me be. Uncle Sam sends dollars, bombs, arms endlessly. Through twisted lenses, he pretends to see clearly. I could quote the Bible, but that's just for show. It's occupation versus civilization, as you know. Accusations by confession, the truth's on a low. Decades of incarceration, yet you clap for the show.
We win, they lose.
I can't breathe anymore, this noose is too tight. Just not as I blame in the dead of the night. We're criminals in truth, but that's our plight. Gentlemen in the headlines, painted in white.
Suddenly, heaven turned into hell.
We raised the homes, gave the order to shell. Bomb schools, mosque, hotels, there's more to tell. Not just that, hospitals fell as well. Thank you, madams and sirs, for funding this hell.
I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel.
Think this ain't real, it's all colonial play. Joe helps me claim defense in the broad daylight. Good man he is, though his words sway, supporting me, even when his talk's not right. They're killed with rage, Arab women, kids in their prime. Gaza's an open-air cage, living on borrowed time. More deaths on the way, they've sworn the crime. So we pin badges of courage in this bloody rhyme. What God's green earth am I ranting about? I'll take you on a ride, no doubt. But can't lie about genocide, that's out. Humanity's priceless, funds are what it's about. They call it occupation, a regime of hate. A racist dream built on a bloodthirsty state. Causing death, grief and pain at every gate. Yet I stand here and you still wait. And what I'm doing, I stand up in the skies, playing the victim, that's my prize. But ouch, they're burning me in effigy skies.
And I want to say thank you, America.
I love you and your hamburgers, that's no bluff. My soldiers loved you as pampers, just enough. No more Octobers, but we had our stuff. And we were the symbol of heroic grace. Not apartheid or racist to any place. Butter wouldn't melt in my mouth, no trace. From north to south, where we embrace face.
They call Israel a colonialist state.
I think I'm kidding, grab the Times, take a read. Ask the White House, they're trying to lead, but they need more training to follow my creed.
That Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America.
Think of Iran, my arms go weak, my mouth goes sour. Let's find a new land to devour. Their might threatens our tower, hour by hour. Victory's near, but is it on my side? Defeating the enemies where I can find, but that's not in me. So prayers I need, and tax dollars, so my plans can proceed. We aim to make Gaza unlivable, our Nobel Prize, then find a new place to colonize. Take the world back from the infidel guys, make this region a 5-star paradise. Thank you, my lies have reached their demise.
Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza.
Lies have reached their demise. Thank you, my lies.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. This is the Sunday Wire, episode 547 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis radio program. Again, brought to you here on ACR, streaming out live on X, Rumble, BitChute, Facebook Live, as well as YouTube and all the audio streams too. So appreciate you guys wherever you're tuning in. Of course, at 21st Century Wire. Hello to everybody in the 21 Wire chat room. That's a separate chat room, especially for our viewers there, but we'll also be bringing in comments from some of the different streams in a moment to discuss what's going on in the world. We'll harp a little bit more on this topic, but there's a lot more going on. Let me bring on to the program right now Adam Clark, also known as Ruckus. I'm going to bring him up on stage right now. Hello, Ruckus.
Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever.
You're in the Arabian spirit, though. You brought your Arabian flair this week.
I heard that Trump was running around offering compliments to folks who live out in this area of the world. So I thought I'd come down here and check it out and see if I can't score myself some of the glowing compliments that the president is just passing out like they were black pills, right, Patrick? Yeah, I don't know. Shocking. I don't know. I hear this is what it takes to be an attractive person, and I'm just trying to score myself a nice girlfriend. So you got to do what you got to do these days, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get Trump's, you want to be the apple of Trump's eye, you need to work on the beard, basically, because that's what Trump likes. He's a good-looking guy, very attractive. His head chopper, good-looking guy. I mean, of all the things you could say about the head of al-Qaeda, al-Baghdadi's number 2, Abu Donald, basically was fangirling him. I can't, but that's why this was our show graphic today, Ruckus. Only fanatics. So good looking and such a strong past. We love him. It's my new friend, his new BBF. I couldn't believe this. I knew this was going to happen because Trump is just so complete. I mean, he will do the stupidest thing imaginable. And so I was tweeting out days before, don't do it, Donald. I tagged Marjorie Taylor Greene. I did everything I could because as an American, I don't want to see my president platforming the head of al-Qaeda. It's just a natural kind of reflex I have as an American. I don't want my president to humiliate the country by platforming the former ISIS head and al-Qaeda head, a wanted terrorist. I just feel, I don't know, it's kind of like the one thing that you can do right as an American is make sure your president doesn't validate that. Let's be honest, Ruckus. Okay, I'll hand it over to you, but just understand how I feel about this. Donald Trump, okay, let me get this straight. Donald Trump has completed the life's work of Hillary Clinton and John McCain by legitimizing al-Qaeda and ISIS and Obama, Hillary, McCain. Their life's work in politics was to legitimize al-Qaeda and ISIS, to give it a state, to give it Syria or Iraq. They ended up getting Syria. Donald Trump, Abu Donald, just put his stamp on that. He finished the job. Congrats. Or like Elon was doing behind MBS. Little Hunger Games clap. I don't even know where to start on this, Ruckus. It was such a circus. I'll hand it over to you. Your thoughts and observations.
Yeah, that's what we would call in this business not a good look, Mr. Trump. Not a good look indeed. In fact, I would suggest that he would probably never even consider doing such a thing if he was eligible to be running for president again, because this is exactly the type of opportunity that the opposition would love to remind the voting public of the next time they get ready to go do the thing, which, you know, the thing doesn't seem to be helping anybody at this point, because it just at the end of the day ultimately keeps moving forward the same narrative. It doesn't matter which side of the coin it is. It's just another reminder that it's still the same coin. I don't care which side we're looking at, but if the coin is flipping up in the air and landing down and killing people, we got to call that out. It doesn't matter who flipped the coin, which side it lands on. It's still the same coin. So that's very fascinating that these are people who are like, he has a past with, his base seem to disagree with and say, hey, listen, we're with Trump, not these guys. But hey, by being with Trump, you are now with these guys. But you need a foundation to understand what you're for, what you're against. And you need to understand that what you're against is the propaganda, the narrative, the agenda, and not against the person who is pushing it. What's more important is what's being pushed. That's how I feel about it, Patrick. But not a good look. Not a good look.
No, and he had an opportunity to walk it back or just kind of, you know, just put it behind him and not talk about it again. But here he is with Bret Baier from Fox, basically giving it another go, basically reiterating how, you know, smitten Abu Donald is with Jolani. And Bret Baier, being the great journalist that he is, doesn't push back on any of it, obviously. Like President Trump, did you know that this was the head of al-Qaeda that you just platformed and endorsed? Like, you don't get that from Bret Baier, like special report from Bret Baier, Fox's toughest, hard-hitting journalist. That's his reputation. He's the new Chris Wallace, the hard-hitting Bret. It was just throwing softballs at, I mean, this was like watching, you know, Rachel Maddow interview Biden. I mean, you couldn't get any softer pitches than this. You might as well have been throwing snowballs. Or, you know, not the actual snowballs, but the you know, the cakes, the snowballs. What are they called? Hostess cakes, Hostess snowballs. Just lopping those at Trump. It's a joke, Ruckus. Honestly, this is like, I could never have envisioned this amount of silliness. You know, in all of my, I don't know. What do you think? It's.
I hate to say it, but I kind of miss all those fact checks that we would get every time Trump opened his mouth. We would get like a million different fact checks from all of the mainstream media outlets and, you know, the people who are not his fan base. That's all gone out the window now. It seems like everybody is just like silent or just like, actually, I've noticed this amazing phenomenon. I've been reporting this and tracking this during my appearances on Mondays for Weaponized News, which is hosted by Sam Chaney. It's a great program, by the way. Y'all check it out if you can. You'll see me there on Mondays. But the thing is, I've noticed that anytime somebody else inside Trump's cabinet is answering a question or addressing the press or the public about X, Y, and Z, it always starts out with and ends. And throughout the whole thing, it seems like all they're doing is just praising Trump. You're not even addressing the problem, the question. You're just like, they always start out with like, well, under the guidance of Trump, well, this administration, well, Trump said, Trump promises made, promises. It's all about Trump. And you're like, are they going to answer the question and address what we're talking about? And that's the problem, is the press has been completely like, their knees have been cut off or something. I don't know where they are. Where are they? They're completely absent. They're not allowed in the press room because they won't say that it's called the Gulf of America now. So the AP, you're not allowed. Maybe this is why we're seeing like these scenes where people are causing a ruckus, like the Ben and Jerry's thing over the genocide recently. We have no choice but to do these things because the people who have been put in place to do their damn jobs, i.e. the press, is it the fourth estate, the fifth estate? I get confused there, but they're not there. So we have to do their job. And that's very disappointing. So it would be nice to see the president sit down, or he doesn't have to sit down. I'd like to see the president stand there, be asked a hard question, and actually answer it. The previous president, when he was asked a hard question, he would look at you like he didn't know what you were talking about, smile, and just shuffle off into the wrong side of the stage till the Easter Bunny came up and brought him down the stairs and he fell down and all that stuff. But this president, he doesn't even take the question. There's nobody there asking the question. So we need to get back to the part where people are actually asking these hard questions of these people, not of ourselves, not to the public, but to them in their face. So Mark Anderson brought up a great a suggestion on the recent episode of Boiler Room. So I'm going to bring this up to you, Patrick. I don't know if he brought it up to you, that we as journalists and what we do, and in particular you and Mark Anderson, but he said me to a degree as well, and Hesher to a degree as well, we should be applying for the opportunity to arrive to these various press events as the press, so that we have the opportunity to ask these hard questions and then see what happens, go from there. The other thing is we could buy a bunch of Trump's meme coin, because apparently whoever holds the most amount of those coins will get to have a nice sit-down dinner with the president. So that's always an option, but, you know, pay to play, as it were.
A disgusting pay to play there. Well, we'll get into some of this. I think we might have Hesher coming up in the green room. Let me get him up on screen as well. I think he's there somewhere. Yes, we've got so many different screens moving here. We'll bring in Hesher. Bryan McClain. Oh, we got to bring Hesher's background up, because he's definitely showing flair this week. There, what's this one in the middle? Looks like a cowboy holding a giant vaccine vial or something.
That would be our buddy RFK Jr.
Oh, that is RFK sporting the 10-gallon hat. Okay, interesting. You've got, of course, Epstein there. I see a little plane in the background. That's,
yep. This is a Ruckus original that was used in the last Boiler Room. I thought I'd come out with this one before I switched to today's graphic, but we had a good time on Boiler Room on Thursday with this one.
And look at Abu Donald over your left shoulder there. Wow. Abu Donald looking very traditional with his full Saudi garb on. That is impressive. That is impressive. This is really great people, great people. So what Ruckus was commenting on before was the propaganda, and you could apply for a press position at the White House, but they're banning people that give negative coverage of the president. And I'm thinking to myself, are we in North Korea here? Because I'm looking at the stuff that the White House is putting out, and guys, when I see stuff like this, it just I feel like I'm in, you know, we're in the Soviet Union or something, because it's just Leni Riefenstahl level here. I mean, just the gushing propaganda. And then this other one I have is Trump basically saying he signed $11 trillion. First it was 1.4 trillion, then it was 2.5 trillion, and then by lunchtime the next day it was 11 trillion, a trade deal with the UAE, Saudi, and Qatar. They don't have that between them in GDP for the next 5 years. It's not going to happen. He just made up this number, 11 trillion. And look at these over there, basically cap in hand, begging for petrodollars to prop up the US dollar, because our system is collapsing, and he's desperate for direct foreign investment into the United States. Guys going over there begging for money and then shaking hands with al-Jolani, the head of al-Qaeda, as part of the deal to get the cash from the Gulfies, is, to me, a major humiliation for America. I don't know if I'm being over dramatic, guys, but that's kind of how I see it. Hesher, your thoughts on this Arabian odyssey over this past week? It was quite something.
First off, what's up with these big numbers? You know, we were talking about this on Boiler Room too, and I think I asked the question in the frame of like, what is with the multiple major news announcements of Trump securing $500 billion from these guys and $600 billion from these guys? It was always $500 billion and $600 billion. $500 billion here, $600 billion there. Oh, here comes Larry Ellison and his buddies, you know, AI Lightspeed, $600 billion for the United States. Here comes Hyundai, another $600 billion for the United States. Here comes Apple, another $500 billion for the United States. Like, and then, you know, you just add the 5 and the 6 together and you get your, you know, your 11 trillions here and there. And where is all this coming from? What is the art of the deal behind all these big numbers? Are they even real? As you point out, is there even a GDP to support that? Because we know that the net worth of Ellison and his buddies would barely cover that $600 billion that we're told they're investing in us. Investing what? Is that like value of like monthly Palantir fees to the government? Is that their, you know, are they waiving those for a year? Is that what the $600 billion is?
Are they cutting us in on every barrel of oil they're pulling up? Or
Yeah.
what? I mean,
And how does that make our tuna sandwiches less than $20 that you've been talking about for months here, Patrick? Like, it doesn't. It makes it easier for the government to spy on us. It makes it easier for them to tighten the noose of their technocratic panopticon net that they're casting right now, while people are cheering for it. So yeah, the the financial aspect is confusing to me. I'm befuddled by it. It's like every day I see, oh, great financial news, and then, oh, terrible financial news. It's like, oh, we got great financial news, all this money coming in, but you know what? You might run out of toilet paper again. The stockyards are all blacked up, and sorry, it'll be good in the future though. Don't worry about it if that does happen. Ruckus was hanging out with Spore and I yesterday, and we were talking about Christmas. What's going to happen with all the Temu and Amazon toys at Christmas if all the stuff is backed up? It's just, I don't know, man. It feels all very strange right now. I just don't have the economic background to understand the 10D chess that's going on here. And then to get back to your original question, as far as Trump going, shaking hands with Jolani. I'm just over it, man. I'm so over watching the PNAC plan and the Greater Israel Project just come to fruition. It's just like, of course he did. Of course he did. They told us Assad must go. They told us Saddam Hussein, must go. They told us Gaddafi must go. And anytime they say someone must go, they go. And a bunch of their citizens go with them, and a bunch of their rights and lives and
the country goes. The country,
yeah, the whole
goes.
Country goes. all the women, all the children, all the men. Just not what it was before. Maybe it wasn't perfect before, but where are we going with all this? So it's just like, and it's I know it does to you and Ruckus and myself and all of our longtime viewers and listeners, but it's just a kick in the groin. It's a kick in the groin after all the work, all the coverage, all the propaganda busting, all the psyop busting, all the, everything, all these years of work, and that is nothing. Our years of work that makes us frustrated is nothing compared to the years of torment that good people that live in the region have had to put up with. So no, I'm not surprised. Yes, it's disgusting. It makes me feel awful for our veterans and our taxpayers and our future.
Yeah. And here's, I mean, it's not, and everything we exposed before, you guys, was basically we were lambasted by the forces of the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, and of course the Biden administration. But now we're being lambasted by the Trump MAGA crowd. So it doesn't matter who's president. Okay. This Donald Trump got behind al-Qaeda just as fast as Hillary or Obama did. Okay. I'm almost thinking like George Bush looks like some kind of sage at this point. I hate to say it, and I don't want to say that. So on the investment, okay, here we go, you guys. I got it. We'll bring this up for a moment here. Yeah, we'll see if anyway. I'll bring it back up on stage. The investment booty that Trump is supposedly going to pick up for the U.S. taxpayer. Here we go. I think what's he calling it now? Let me see. What have we got here? 10 trillion. Yes, here it is. I don't know if you guys can see this up on screen. We now have over 10 trillion of investment. What the hell is he talking about? 10 trillion. We'll bring that. We'll bring this up here. Look at that.
That's almost a third of our entire national debt, right?
Yeah, almost a third. Not quite.
Well, we'll give it time because the debt keeps going up.
We'll short. Yeah, it'll be a fourth of our debt in a couple of months. So here it is. And so they released this. The White House basically tweets this out. 10 trillion investment. What on earth are you talking about? And add another 1.4 trillion. We can easily break that number. This is all made up in somebody's head. It's just like it's like Hank Paulson during the banker bailout in 2008. We just needed a really big number. Okay. So that's your biggest investment, says the White House. We also agreed to create a path for the UAE to buy some of the world's most advanced AI semiconductors. I'm sure that's going to be a whopping $2 billion or something over 10 years. I mean, it reminds me of Doge. It's just outright lying. Tell me, give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear this. I'm going to play this propaganda video.
You're an amazing country. You're a rich country. You can have your choice, but I know you'll never leave my side. And you know the special relationship that we have and our country has. We have now, I think, substantially over $10 trillion of investment. And now when they add the 1.4 trillion, we easily break that number.
So guys, I can just, if I'm president, I just say anything. We got 20 trillion in investment coming in, and it's gonna be 25. Got a couple of other deals in the pipeline, couple of hotel deals, few golf courses.
We really appreciate your confidence and an investment. That's your biggest investment that you've ever made, and we really appreciate it. And we're going to treat you very, as you should be, magnificently. And you're a magnificent man, and it's an honor to be with you. Two countries also agreed to create a path for UAE to buy some of the world's most advanced AI semiconductors from American companies, a very big contract. This will generate billions and billions of dollars in business and accelerate the UAE's plans to become a really major player in artificial intelligence. So it's a great tribute to the job you've done here.
I don't know how much more of this you can take, you guys, but it's just propaganda, basically.
And it's very, you want to talk about cost. I'm blown away every time I see these videos that are being posted from the White House or on Donald Trump's official social media. Those are full on Hollywood production level snippets. Each one of these minute-long videos probably cost $1 million to make. I'm just throwing a number out there, but that's what Trump's doing too.
It's good work. Whoever's getting the work, hats off to them. They're doing a damn good job. It looks great. But there's, if you're a filmmaker and someone's coming to you with this, and just, big up the Donald, big it up, make America great, make everything great. You can do that with film, cameras, music, setting. The tools are there, but the substance isn't there. The
Right.
substance isn't there. And to me, that's the problem. You got to see through this glitz. There's no substance. It's just announcement, deal, announcement. Where's the trade war? Like, what happened there? The U.S. caved to China 2 weeks ago.
I also have a curious question because they keep talking about investments left and right. And from what I understand, in my experience as a business person in the past and as a minor investor into various things like small stocks and cryptocurrencies and things like that, gold, silver, etc. Anytime somebody invests in something, there has to be something in return. There has to be an ROI, a return on the investment. So we have all of these investment promises. Well, what's in it for them? And I would like to dig in deeper into the actual contracts that are being signed, but there probably is none because it's just bluster, it's just talk, it's just propaganda, it's just, we're just, where everything is awesome. It's like the song from Lego, the Lego movie, everything is awesome. And it's like, don't dare look behind the scenes and see what's going on because you'll discover quickly it's not awesome. So yeah, I have many questions, but we're not getting any answers as usual.
Yeah, that's another one of those propaganda videos. So, yeah, a lot of talk, to me, it was just a huge distraction because the amazing thing was, so they did two bait and switches, or two. So I call it Trump's Kansas City shuffle. They sent in Witkoff and pulled out this American hostage who was an IDF soldier, Eden Alexander, something. He was. So they only become American if they're serving in the IDF, if you noticed. And so he's not a POW. So that we're at war with Hamas, but it's a hostage, even though he's IDF. Okay, right. And then Witkoff promises the Palestinians that we're going to let in food and medical supplies and water if you release this guy So they released them. They worked with the Americans. Trump got the big W. Witkoff got the big victory lap. Netanyahu even drafted off the back of it and said, and because of the work of Donald Trump, we got the da-da-da-da, So they all basically got a W out of it, and they lied to the Palestinians. This is not a good thing to do when you're in negotiations with the Iranians and the Russians as we speak. Russia and Iran are looking at this and thinking, okay, these guys are basically short con artists. They don't really give a what about the substance or the results or the principles of the negotiations. They just want to get media W's. Am I reading this? Am I being too flippant here, guys? Go on. Go ahead. Jump in.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it does seem that way. We're supposed to be entrusting in Donald Trump that he's, going to stop conflicts. And is that really what's going to happen? Is that really the long-term outcome of solidifying, an al-Qaeda leader as a, president who just walked into a giant region and said, hey, I'm president now. The other guy's out. I'm in. This is what we're going to do, guys. Here we go. You better be on the right side of, our politic here now, our new politic, or you could be in deep, what. And, Iran, Russia, other countries, they're watching this. They know what they have good political advisors and ambassadors, and they have more information than we the public do, so they know a lot more about just how grifty all of this is. So it's a really bad look. And thanks for bringing that up, Pat, because I wanted to just sort of underline, why is the White House making such a big deal about the AI thing, right? Like, oh, we're gonna like the public, the people of the world, or the people of America are supposed to be like, oh, awesome, we're gonna give Saudi Arabia quantum computing and artificial intelligence data centers. Now hold on a second. First off, the very elites that we criticize, the very elites that created so many of these situations that fund intelligence agencies, militaries, and governments to do the kind of colored revolution operations that we've been commenting on for decades now, and pull off a lot of this crap that we see and start wars like the one in Ukraine. They're also the people that are investing in this very same stuff that Donald Trump is touting. So here's something straight out of GoldmanSachs.com, right? I scrolled up a little bit so you can see I'm actually at GoldmanSachs.com. And this is from February of this year. AI to drive 165% increase in data center power demand by 2030. And Goldman Sachs researchers forecast global power demand for data centers will increase by 50% in just less than 2 years here, and as much as 165% by the end of the decade compared to last year. Now, they're dumping tons of money in this. China's dumping tons of money in this. China's DeepSeek. So America and the West, they're trying to out DeepSeek. They're trying to out AI China, or maybe they're just doing it right along with them. Who really knows what's going on behind the scenes there. But they're talking about hyperscale cloud providers. And, they already have so much energy going into these things. It's crazy. There's some numbers on here. At present, Goldman Sachs research estimates the power usage by the global data center market to be around 55 gigawatts. All right. That's maybe we should say gigawatts, because that's more power than it took Marty McFly to go back in freaking time just for the current load. Right. This is comprised of cloud computing workloads, 54%, traditional workloads for typical business functions such as email, whatever, 32%, and AI, 14%. So they're talking about projecting power demands, which will reach 84 gigawatts just by 2027, with AI growing to 27% of the overall market, cloud dropping to 50%, and traditional workloads falling. So this all means that the biggest bankers in the world are planning to see the workload, traditional workload, that means people going to work, okay, think about that, falling, and the amount of AI rising, and the amount of overall power skyrocketing. Now that that 55 gigawatts on its way to 84 gigawatts by 2027 absolutely just makes everything else a dwarf, right? Like they've told us that that amount of power, they can't even make that amount of power without going back to nuclear and who knows what other kind of exotic power technologies to do it. And who have they been blaming for their fake climate crisis this whole time? Us. Those of us eating the $20 tuna sandwiches. It's our fault. And these guys are willing to increase by orders of magnitude the amount of so-called fossil fuel that we're going to use so that they can put AI in places like Saudi Arabia. Get the F out of here.
How much air conditioning do you need? Units of air conditioning do you need? Because that's where a lot of that power is also coming from.
So much.
You know, the other huge data centers they're building in America, it's totally counterintuitive. In Arizona, it's like it's as hot as Saudi Arabia in the summer in Arizona. Perfect place to put data centers that need more air conditioning than they have processing power. I mean,
and water cooling. Well.
And yeah, because we got so
let's
much
build
water
it in the
Arizona.
desert. That makes sense, right?
We're just spoiled with water in Arizona. It's just raining all. I can't think of anything more stupid than this. You know what's crazy about this as well, Ruckus, is we'll bring Hesher back as well, is that again, I get this vision of the Matrix where there's so much power required to run the Matrix, and that becomes the number one priority. That the AI, it just keeps growing and growing and growing and bigger and faster and wider and more and more and more, where that becomes the prime directive. So that at some point, the what you've just outlined there, Hesher, is that the power allocation for AI takes precedent over the power allocation for human beings. Is this why we have to ration our heating with smart meters in our homes, giving us by the 30-minute billing, peak and off-peak prices by the minute? Okay, is this to make way for AI? I thought it was because of climate change. Oh, I guess it's not. We need to do that for the computer. You're going to freeze, wear an extra sweater because AI. Wear an extra sweater in the winter and rub on Tiger Balm for Elon. For Tesla, for AI, for Sam Altman. You know,
for Ben Solomon. So Ben Solomon can have it too.
Yeah, Ben Solomon. Yeah, for Alex Karp. Yeah, absolutely. Tighten your belt, gentlemen. Tighten your belt so the tech lords can have some more power for their grid. Why? Just to make life easier, right? No, for them to get filthy freaking rich, and this massive underclass, much of which will be unemployed.
Plus the technocratic control mechanism that's associated with all of this is, yeah, this was a must do. We had to do this thing. So they had to tug on the heartstrings of the people to say, oh, we have to do these things to save the planet, save the environment. And we got everybody addicted to these electric vehicles, when ultimately now we've moved past that, but still everybody's obsessed with electric vehicles. So ultimately the goal of the electric vehicles had nothing to do with the climate. So what purpose do they serve? Oh, well, guess what? You can just turn them on and off at will. Like, it's very easy it's all part of this technocratic control grid that's being laid. Remember during the emergency illness period time back, what was it, 2 weeks ago in 2020? One of the very first things they did while everybody was shut inside their houses is they laid down all the 5G, remember? And they also went hard after anybody who raised any concerns or questions involving that technology. You know, all those crazy conspiracy theorists are running around saying 5G is causing COVID. I'm like, well, nobody's really saying that, but we have some concerns here. Oh, shit down and shut up, you stupid conspiracy. Like, it was crazy, but that's what they were working on. They were laying the foundation for the next phase, which I believe we're witnessing now. which is this rollout mass, like you thought the warp speed of the vaccines was something. Our heads are spinning already, but they're gonna spin as soon as we realize just how quickly this control grid, which is going to be run by the algorithms, the AI, the robots replacing our jobs. I mean, I was just telling Hesher yesterday, we're not going to recognize the entire planet by the end of this year, the rate things are going. And that's a scary thought.
Well, yeah. Life is, things are changing ridiculously fast, and there's so much fake content on the internet now, and seems to be it's being deployed at speeds that are just something phenomenal. It's hard to keep up with. I'm going to go to some comments. I'm going to bounce back to you guys for your thoughts on them as well. This is Pamela Drew. What AI pimps omit from their plan is a human genome project needed for population-wide DNA, which is fed by acceptance of PCR, PCR tests, as a useful diagnostic or a non-diagnostic, but it's a remnant stream and steady flow. A little bit too complex there, Pam, but we sort of get your sentiment. We'll go to something more based. This is Canavanibus. Hopefully Skynet is anti-Semitic. Oh my goodness. You guys are just terrible.
How dare you?
Here we go. Basil Peterson. China is using thorium reactors to power data centers. True. China is making huge advances in thorium reactors, which is actually a very safe nuclear alternative. Again, needs a lot of development. China seems to be at the forefront of that. The Chinese seem to be a lot smarter on a lot of this stuff than we are, just saying. And China will probably be smarter on green tech than us all combined by the end of it, I'm sure. Although they're burning a lot of coal now. And oh my goodness, isn't BlackRock up Trump's ass? Now that might sound like a based comment, but there's a lot of truth in that, because what Trump did was tip the hat to Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, OpenAI, all these firms. So that's kind of what this Middle East trip was is basically, yeah, we're going to get these preferred corporations. We're going to slot you in there, and you're going to have some market share, and you're going to get a little bit of that Gulf bump, basically. That's kind of like what it is. So Trump's basically carrying water for BlackRock. And here we go. Those solar panels are just not up to it. Well, that's an understatement right there. Yeah, what happened to the Green New Deal? Seems like a joke, doesn't it? Based on what we're talking about.
Yeah, it seemed like a joke when they announced it. They should have called it the Green Fake Deal, or I don't know, Green Nuke You Deal.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff. Okay, here we go. Now this is important, especially for you guys in Texas, because get ready for rolling blackouts, because the USA hasn't added any electricity generation capacity in 30 years. That's kind of scary, actually. You think about it.
They've actually added a lot of guardrails. When we had in 2021, in February of 2021, when we had the ice apocalypse here in Texas that had Spore and I locked in the house for 4 days without power. It wasn't because, something fell or something broke or anything like that. It's because someone pushed the button to turn the power off because they hit some sort of, greenish red line or something like that. I mean, it was completely ridiculous. Same with the big power outage that happened on the East Coast a year or two ago, where they claimed it was a cyber attack. Yes, there was a ransomware attack on that place, but what they did was just push the button and turn it off rather than, leave the power on for all the people while they figured out what to do. So it's a very true comment, and we've seen a lot of rolling blackouts in California over the years. They haven't been as bad lately, but tell that to the people of the Palisades.
Yeah, here we go. Ponzi scheme got new investors. Oh, you better believe it. That's Canavanibus. You better believe it. It's all Ponzi schemes, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of the new, that the AI is going to drive more high velocity Ponzi schemes and businesses that are going to pop up, snap up contracts, and then disappear after like a year or something, or get merged and then absorbed. And then these guys will be running freaking stable coins all over the place. It's just ridiculous. Do you guys know much about Project 2025, it makes the executive branch the CEO of a corporation, so no Congress or judicial branch now. It might seem far-fetched what ZP Zap is saying there, but judging by the sort of way that this government's kind of behaving with the Constitution and throwing judges in jail, and you can argue about the merits of the argument on that, but I'm a big fan of due process. I'm very old-fashioned, and while I disagree with my political adversaries on a number of issues, that there should be some kind of preserved due process in which things can be adjudicated. And it seems like the Trump administration's on a bit of a power trip with a couple of these issues, and I'm a little bit worried about that, as I would be if Biden was doing it or Obama. Okay, so and so I do see Trump doing a lot of the same things that he accused Biden of doing, and I think we have a great system in America. We've got a fantastic Constitution, fantastic Bill of Rights, great at restraining government tyranny and overreach. It's fantastic. We have a great system of balance, checks and balances, but it's totally out of whack at the moment. There's way too much power in the executive branch and in the lobby branch. That's the fourth branch of government. It's the lobbyists. And that our founding fathers didn't actually put that provision for us. It was kind of added. Citizens United was kind of added to it unofficially. So we have this private branch of government in America that's bigger than the other branches, which is a little bit of a problem in my humble opinion. But who am I to rain on the party? Because everybody is making tons of money right now. So I don't want to upset any of the billionaires. I'm so sorry I even brought it up. Any thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
Our priorities are clearly out of whack. The Constitution sure looks good on paper, and it is great, and but we're not using it or honoring it the way we should be. And I don't know if we can go back. I think we may have crossed the Rubicon some time ago already.
Yeah, the idea of like, I understand the comment there, and a lot of people talk about the Act of 1871 and all these things that happened between 1871, 1913. To JFK, to 9/11 and all that. And, many people have made a pretty good argument that the United States runs as a corporation. There's a lot of evidence to that. I won't get into the weeds on that. I think most people watching this program probably already know that. But the system of checks and balances is what has been broken, and it's been broken for a long time. It's been broken. It may have been broken as far back as one of those dates or years that I just mentioned, but it was definitely broken in the modern format after 9/11. So, ever since the Patriot Act was introduced, the NDAA, all these other things that have followed it, and the behaviors that it has allowed, and the policies that it has paved the way for, make it such that we don't have a system of checks and balances. And the concept of President Trump or any other president, sort of becoming CEO of that corporation, like openly, just means that it's an open secret now that the checks and balances are off. They're not working, and if you look at legal scholars and former judges and judges that aren't being paid by anyone anymore, they'll tell you that, that the whole legal system is messed up, and it's not working the way that it should. And same with the executive branch. All the branches are way exceeding their powers, and riding off one another's corruptions to build and build and build upon that, to the point where we just don't really exist in the America that we were brought up thinking that we did exist in.
And we're going to go quick back to the whole Middle East bait and switch thing here. Michael Tracy tweeted this video. Michael Tracy's been like so on the money on all of this bait and switching. He's very sharp. He's one of the sharpest guys out there, quite frankly. I don't think there's many people that are as quick as Michael Tracy. So much so that he annoys a lot of people because he's too sharp. Here's Witkoff, and this is what Michael Tracy says. We'll play the clip, guys. And he says, As the apocalyptic endgame Israeli offensive in Gaza gets underway, Witkoff says, I don't think there's any daylight between President Trump's position and Prime Minister Netanyahu's position. Oh, my goodness. With Netanyahu's position being the final conquest of Gaza. So there you have it. We'll play this real quick and see if we get some comment.
The president, John, is a humanitarian. And I think that everyone is concerned about the humanitarian conditions in Gaza. That said, it is a very complicated situation there. Logistically, I don't think there's any daylight between President Trump's position and Prime Minister Netanyahu's position. The issue now is, how do we logistically get all of those trucks into Gaza? How do we set up the aid station?
Time out. Sorry. Time out. If this was a soccer match, I'm pulling out a red card right now. Okay. Not a yellow card. I'm pulling a red card on Witkoff. Logistically, guys, Ruckus, Hesher, you guys are experts in logistics. Of course you're not, but you don't need to be. How do you get aid into Gaza logistically? How is it getting in there before October 7th? Anyone?
I can't even figure this out, Patrick. So
it was dropped
difficult.
by a spaceship dropped it, right? Is that how they did it? Did Elon was taking care of that back then, right? With SpaceX, fly up and then
Amazon drone deliveries. Was that it? Am I right?
You're right. It was Bezos. He was bringing in 400 semi trucks worth of aid per day into Gaza with little Amazon drones. And he was doing that for the last 20 years because Jeff is very generous like that. No, it was coming by truck. It was coming through the Rafah border crossing, not rocket science. Don't need Elon to figure this out. And Witkoff is saying the logistics are this is not an easy thing to solve.
Complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated. And that's why they've got experts like us on the case.
Yeah, I could see it might be a little complicated to send some trucks with some aid over that border, seeing as that border has been closed, seeing that other trucks going and other flotillas going with aid have been bombed and shot down and people have been murdered. So, I mean, there's a little logistical problem for you right there. You want to send some, who are you going to send in there? You're going to send some Red Cross people or some UN people, maybe some people from Jordan or Egypt. Oh, wait. Yeah, all those, maybe some journalists to go along and make sure everything goes well and report back to us that, it's happening and that these are humanitarians and they want to, rectify this. No, because all those people I just mentioned have been bombed, have been murdered, have had their stuff taken and destroyed before it could even get there. There's no water there. There's no power there. There's no hospitals left there. Where are you going to drop the medicine off? There's no hospital anymore.
I mean, it's not like doing a property deal in Atlantic City, Steve. I mean, you don't have to deal with the Teamsters. You don't have to bribe the city council. You don't have to threaten the regional planners. None of that. Not to say anything about the local reps or the mayor, the corrupt mayor's office. It's literally, you just have to make a phone call to the guy that you're supplying all the weapons and bombs and fueling up their F-35s. That's all you have to do, and just say, hey, open that road, let in the food, the water, and the medical supplies. You twit. So no wonder we get comments like this. See, Kurt Boss knows. That's why we get.
Doesn't Trump like to do this type of thing? Like he needs to save face. He wants. We got to get food. Why doesn't he do what he did during the hurricanes and the floods? And he actually shows up on the ground and throws them Big Macs. I mean, why doesn't he do this thing? I mean, you're telling me that the IDF, the world's greatest, most powerful, awesomest army ever, can't protect our president to hop on a truck and deliver some food and medicine directly to the starving kids in Gaza? They could and they would do these things if they wanted to, is all I'm suggesting. And it would make Trump look good. And then, of course, you don't have to look embarrassed to the fact that China just recently had to airdrop a bunch of aid to the Gazans because no one else is freaking doing it.
No, that's fake news.
I was going to say, or that could have been something that I haven't vetted yet.
Sadly, fake news pushed by some reputable independent media journalists. I won't name any names, but I really should, but I won't because I already did on X. But if I had to pay for a bot army to write good things about us, this would be one of those bots. Patrick, Ruckus, Hesher always have interesting perspectives and opinions. Thank you very much, Hayateya. Thank you. And that is not a paid bot. That is a real person and one of our regular listeners. Thank you very much. Those are the kind of comments we need, folks. So it's going to be complimentary, gushing praise for us, and we will put those on screen. Everything else, I'm sorry, it's going to go to the back of the queue. Here we go. Here we go. Haven't China, despite all the coal burning, already got the most the most solar, wind, and water wave power? It's true. They do. China's got the most of everything. So let's just let Steve finish his statement here. Hold on.
There are many initiatives that we're working on to address this. The president, John, is a humanitarian.
Okay, that's all you need to know. President Trump is a humanitarian. Why? Because Steve said so. It's simple. Steve said so, and that's it. Any further questions, class? No, Witkoff is on it. I have probably the best video of the week, and I will bring that up shortly, guys. But we'll bring a few more comments here from some of our listeners. Let me see who we got here. Here we go. This is actually interesting. Climate change, the only problem that goes away if you pay more taxes. You see how smart our listeners are? It's like that meme. Have you seen that meme of that Eddie Murphy guy going like this? That's our listeners. That's our audience. Very smart, our audience. Much better than some of the other podcasts, I would say. Here we go. And I get emotional when I think about the Chinese. They are the future. They have the light. Well, a lot of people think so. I mean, judging by the way we're carrying on with some of this madness, I would say China's looking pretty good. As Trump would say, China looking pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. Okay, here we go. This one's saying here, this is Yvonne Mack saying, if there's a sudden change in the electromagnetic fields, it will impact us because we are electrical. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The pole shift thing, this is a big issue. David Dubine and some other people out there have done some great work on this. Is this why Zuckerberg and all these guys are building underground bunkers and private islands with their own power supply? Is it because of the pole shift? Because the pole shift, we lose the protection from UV radiation. So I guess if you can afford to go down for 2 years until it evens out, and everybody else can, is that how it is?
I've seen a resurgence in this topic on the in the doom scroll lately. I've noticed a lot of people talking about it. I remember I first hearing about it like 10 years ago or even longer maybe. And I mean, there's an interesting argument to be made there. There's a lot of science that's hard to understand, but there's definitely could be a there.
Yeah, here we go. They wanted Greenland for the data centers for the cool temps. True. So the data centers in some of the high latitude Arctic regions and so forth, the heat that's being generated by the data centers, they're recycling that for energy back into the local community. Okay. So that, again, capturing.
China is building theirs under the underwater, under the ocean, in the ocean. I just watched a little mini documentary about this. It's a quick, easy, cost-efficient way for them to do all the cooling, but it's a pain in the ass for them to actually, because deep diving and construction underwater is very tricky. But that's the route they went. So they're just using the natural power of the planets to help them with their massive data center cooling issues right now.
Yeah, and I've heard of businesses that make data centers in basically like in shipping containers that are buried under ice or under snow. Like they can actually put a data center, even a small one, like crypto miners have done that in the past. They'll just, buy the land, dig a big hole in the ice, drop a container down there. you know, set up a tunnel to go down into for maintenance and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely some creative means that are being looked at, and I think that comment is really good. I've been, you know, on a quest to understand what the obsession with Greenland is, and that's definitely one of the things that landed on my list. And the other thing is they put a Space Force base there. So imagine that, like you've got a military base there, and the amount of resources, money, projects, research projects, you know, operational projects that could potentially build things like that when you've got, you know, a military base there as well as corporate interests there, and, you know, art of the deal, like trade deals going possibly after all this bluster about taking it over. You know, I think the whole like America's going to take over Greenland was sort of like a meme, but it was one that was actually kind of a revelation of the method in that, yeah, we're already there. We have a military base there, and it's a Space Force base. So, you know, we can launch satellites, we can, you know, do all this, you know, SpaceX / military stuff, as well as, you know, mine a lot of those rare earth minerals. And what do we need those for so bad? Well, those data centers. And where's a great place to put some of those data centers? On Greenland.
Yep. Yep. Listen, for pure power, the most profitable crypto mining are basically hydro-powered crypto mines. And you can buy an old mill in West Virginia with the wheels already intact, and you can retrograde refit it, and basically it can run X amount, and you can put another wheel in. You know, it's like the land in some of these old factories are going for chips. Basically, they're almost giving it away. So if you're industrious, if you're clever, and you know where to go and how to cut a good deal for some of this stuff, I know some crypto miners that have invested in hydro, and their overheads are around zero. Yeah.
Interesting that they're not going to wind or solar, though. Back to that other comment, you know, it's like,
yeah.
and hydro is like, that's the oldest school version of green energy, right? Like hydro, I mean, look at the Hoover Dam. It's one of the wonders. We've been doing this forever, and we just kind of let that fall to the wayside a few decades ago, and tried to, you know, in the Obama era, they tried to replace that with all this, you know, fancy newfangled electric and wind and, you know, solar stuff. And the very first, you know, big chunk of money they gave out to that was to who? Solyndra, right? Which ended up just being a big grift, a complete lie, a complete grift, a big theft of taxpayer dollars. And did anyone even was anyone held accountable for that? I don't think so.
There was more than one Solyndra too. Like that's the only one that got publicity. There were a couple of others. There's a couple that are still going as well. And Trump's going to have a few Solyndras as well. That's for absolute sure. And probably be some of these big names like Larry Ellison, some of these guys, and with kind of AI vaccine development. Get the F out of here. AI vaccine development. Don't make me say something very derogatory on air, but anyway. So here we go. What is this? This is just craziness. What are you talking about? The Yahoo Vision bomb conquest? Oh, is it Eurovision? Oh, the Eurovision Song Contest. Did you guys see what happened?
I saw a fan protesting and getting abused by security. That was the one piece I saw.
So Russia got kicked out of Eurovision just the minute they invaded Ukraine, or, you know, crossed the border into Donbass and Lugansk in 2022. So Israel is just busy mowing down people, and they haven't been kicked out. They're not even Europe. Israel's been added as a kind of to allow them to be European. I mean, that's something else. But so they do the voting. It's people's choice. They do the voting by telephone, and as if by magic, every single country Israel won. And it wasn't because of telebots, right? There's only one country that didn't work in was Poland. And somehow Israel managed, for the first time in history, one country got the majority from all those countries. And it's a telephone voting thing. So did Israel game the system on that? I kind of think yes. But so it's a double slap in the face. It's like that Batman and Robin meme. Israel's slapped. Unbelievable. So yeah, It's a bit of a joke anyway. It's a bit, it's a bit on the camp side, if you know what I mean. Rainbow flags and stuff. But anyway, Israel dominates in those areas. They just have to. But here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Ryan Wagner. Trump signed a treaty with the aliens to do the transports. The best deal maker. I mean, what? Well, we don't advise day drinking during this program, especially on a Sunday. Generally, I'm not sure if that's at play here, but we're just putting that warning out.
Does Ryan mean the illegal aliens or the outer space aliens?
I'm thinking the extraterrestrial ones. I'm thinking he's talking about the extraterrestrial ones.
I was thinking.
I thought he meant coyotes, like transporting people or food or things. I don't know.
Yeah, to transport, like teleporting. He signed a deal with the aliens in space to do teleporting to Mars. That's how I read that, but I'm a bit wired.
Well, maybe he's saying the aliens could beam the support down to Gaza, since we can't get anything through Rafah and everything's getting bombed. If we could just beam it down, if we could have some some Neblinians or something like that beam down the support that they need there, maybe that would be a pretty good art of the deal, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean that brings up an interesting question. If the aliens do appear, who are you going to send to talk to them? Like, who's going to be the representative? I mean, it can't be Trump. He's going to balls that one up because he can't even manage to do the Ukrainians. You think you can send Steve Witkoff up to speak to the aliens, and what's that going to be?
It's going to be Grok. It'll be an AI program that represents all of humanity. Remember, your boy Ruckus said that.
Well, I've got another idea of somebody to send. I think I'll show you who I'm talking about in a minute. But the guy I want to send is very well known. He's somebody you guys all know. You might not respect him. You might not like him. He might even give you nausea. But if you were, and I'm just saying here, guys, work with me on this. And that goes for the chat as well. Just keep an open mind. If the aliens do not have the humans' interest at heart, who would you send to meet them that might scare the aliens? In other words, they would be so repulsed by the sight of this person that they would think twice about invading the planet or doing anything to us. I mean, who would that be if you had to pick somebody?
Like, guys, badass scary or creepy scary?
Just full stop, like enough to spook aliens, basically.
Bill Clinton.
Vera Wing.
Who's that, Ruckus?
Vera Wing.
I don't know who that is.
She's a fashion designer. Trust me, if you saw a picture, you'd be like, whoa, yep, that's the winner.
Okay. Well, we'll put her on the short list. Hesher, you have any suggestions?
Bill Clinton came to mind because he's scary in both those realms.
He's getting pretty scary, Bill Clinton is. Well, I'm putting forth a short list who, again, made the headlines this week. This guy, as they say, savoir-faire is everywhere, to quote Underdog. Here he is, believe it or not, America's rabbi, and this is what I tweeted here. A very bad harbinger for Zelensky. Misanthropic rabbi gives blessing to the actor playing the president in Kiev. Quote from Rabbi Shmuley. The entire American Jewish community is proud of all the courage and bravery you have shown, he says to Zelensky. So Shmuley made it to Europe somehow. I don't know how he pulled that one off. Again, I'm calling this the curse of Shmuley because Shmuley has actually been putting hexes on people just by showing up. Quite a few people here. You guys have to see this. This video is just class here. See if we can roll this for everybody so you can see. This is real. This is not fakery here.
Mr. President, thank you for being made of steel and such a brave defender of democracy and human rights. And the entire American Jewish community is very proud of all the courage and bravery you've shown. God bless you always, Mr. President Zelensky.
You know what's freaky is Shmuley has to like look in the camera at the beginning and the end of all of his selfies that he's going around collecting. This is very bad for Zelensky, I think, to be blessed by Shmuley. But what I'm saying, guys, is wouldn't it be good to send Rabbi Shmuley to meet the aliens? Because that would put them off, I think, invading. We could just say, we're sending you our typical human. We're fully populated with this type of person here, this goblin. We are a planet of goblins. So please, you don't want to have anything to do with us. We're sending our emissary who wants to do a selfie with you. So we're sending America's rabbi, Shmuley Botish. And everything he touches just turns to gold, doesn't it? That's my idea.
Hey, I got to give a medal to Spore. You can't see these chats, so you can't put it on the screen. But in our Discord, Spore wrote Rabbi Shmuley like 10 seconds before you brought his picture up. So good call there, Spore. You thought of the scariest person online. I think if we do send him, he should wear the outfit that he wore when he was going after Candace with the goblin nose and all the horrible writing on the shirt and the blood drinking. Like that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me see if we get some comments about Shmuley. Well done, Spore, for getting that one right. And here we go. Let me see some stuff about aliens and underground cities. We'll try to circle back to that, but we'll get up to date here. And oh, here we go. This is interesting. Shmuley operates the same way as Nick Fuentes. They're radioactive, and they get people in pictures with them. Interesting. Yeah, Shmuley is like a bit of a dwarf of a certain way. And again, a lot of fans of Shmuley in our chat. Shmuley looks like some creepy fictional character out of Lord of the Rings or some SHIT. Yeah, that's a Grapentine. And Shmuley, oh, here we go. Shmuley would be probing the aliens. That's not a good vision, especially for someone who runs an online sex toy business like Rabbi Shmuley does. But Shmuley would be probing the aliens with a butt plug instead of the aliens probing him. That would definitely keep the invasion off. I think I do believe we have the correct answer if we wanted to spook the aliens and prevent an invasion. Shmuley's the guy. Rupert Fellows agrees. Shmuley looks like a real troll who lives under a bridge. He kind of does. This is true. This is so true. Wow. Yeah. Here we go. Shmuley looks like wow, that's not good.
Yeah, some of these we probably shouldn't post.
Here we go. How is Shmuley not an alien?
Oh, there we go. Good question.
Legit question from the tree girl. And here we go. Oh, yes. Hopefully Zelensky puts his curse on the... Okay. I can't repeat that. This is interesting. Yeah, we disavow these comments. The intent might be good, but the execution might be for adults only. Put an 18 and older on that. Shmuley bought some sex toys as a gift. I mean, he does run a kosher online sex shop, basically. Yeah, and that's the guy basically superglued himself to all the presidential candidates, half of Congress, and now Zelensky. So I don't think this is going to be good for Zelensky. This is a bad omen for Zelensky, guys. I don't know if you agree or not. It's kind of the end. When Shmuley is endorsing you, you're kind of done at that point, I think.
Yeah, in the eyes of many, at least. I mean, some people he's plastered himself to seem to persist. I don't really understand what that is or why he's still. You would think that whoever his handlers are, they would want to put an end to this or tone it down at some point. Like, it's gotten way out of hand. Like, I'm assuming there's a handler involved there. Or some sort of PR agency at the very least, if it's all just above board and it's just organically this weird, which I have a hard time believing, but I leave space for it. But whoever's running that like PR, camp, I just don't understand it. I'm seeing this with so many people, like Michelle Obama too. She's running around right now doing a terrible podcast and saying things that nobody relates to. It's just like, what happened to a bunch of these people's PR teams? Like, are they just gone, or are they intentionally tanking these people so that they can get that underdog feel and then come back later, as the victor, or kind of the same way that, that's kind of what happened to Trump, right? I mean, you couldn't have been made a bigger underdog than he was between 2017, or when he came on this, basically since he came down the escalator until November, January.
I think Amanda here actually trumped, no pun intended, trumped Spora a bit. She's saying she posted this before we put Shmuley up on screen. Please don't post Shmuley, and of course we did. So full props to Amanda for not only getting it right, but trying to warn us off as well, but unsuccessfully. It was Shmuley. But just back to
we all knew where you were going with that. We just didn't want to say it.
Yeah, you probably did. You probably did. And then I like this one here. When asked about the aliens, it said Trump would probably bomb them first. True. Very true.
You might get confused and just deport them, though, also.
Right.
He'll send Steve Witkoff to meet them, and next thing you know, we've got them committing trillions upon billions, gazillions of an investment in some sort of bizarre alien currency, of course.
So, and when asked, like people were guessing, who would you send to deal with the aliens? Or no, who are the aliens? The Ewoks? Do you send the Ewoks, or are they the Ewoks? Be great if they were the Ewoks. Who doesn't like Ewoks? But if you wanted to put them off, who would you send? Katy Perry, says Dr. Nick Riviera. They just tried that a couple weeks ago. They did a dry run, a really dry run, actually. So
they returned to sender.
Yeah, they didn't go into space. Would you send Boris Johnson? Yeah, that would work. I think those are all good, very solid. Nancy Pelosi, solid, very solid. Dick Cheney, probably not as much of a threat. He's not what he was, but definitely good effort there. Zelensky, true. Now this, okay, I'm going to put a name up on screen. This would definitely make aliens think twice before pulling a V. You remember that series V, you guys? Remember
Love V?
Before they would not pull a V if you sent your forward party and it had this person in it. Look at that. John Fetterman. Exigent news. Listen, that is legit. He's tall. He's scary. He is so dumb. And then he's wearing those long shorts, the basketball shorts, and the hoodie. That's pretty good. I think Fetterman's more scary than Jolani. But actually, Tree Girl trumps both of those, possibly with the current iteration of this person. Look at this. Madonna.
Oh, scary. Yeah, super scary.
That might work. Okay. That is if you sent Shmuley and Madonna and Fetterman in one capsule to go and meet the aliens, basically to convince them not to invade the earth. Maybe here, Satan Yahoo, that's Netanyahu. Yeah, I mean, that might work too, but they might just be so annoyed by him that they pull out a laser gun and fry him right on the spot, perhaps. And again, this is pretty good here. Victoria Nuland, she is pretty frightening.
Has anyone said Klaus Schwab yet?
Not yet. There's some good runners in here. Lady Gaga, annoying but not scary enough. But have you guys seen the recent interview with Sean Penn and Louis? Sean Penn is like, he just turned 60 or something. Or he's only like 62.
He looks 102.
He looks 102. What happened to this guy? This is what happens. This is what happens when you hang out and do all-nighters with Zelensky for like a couple months straight. It does take a toll.
George Clooney too. Did you see that recent footage of Clooney going into a restaurant? Like, what the hell? He looked like he aged like 20 years since the last time I've seen him in a movie or something like that, or on a media event where he's got the professional makeup on. Like, no shade for being an older person, but he just does not look. He looks so much older and feeble than like any time I've seen him. Just on a production.
Well, it shows you how good the makeup is on these productions and stuff.
How about Bridget Macron, Patrick?
Oh,
ooh, Ruckus is coming in there. Ruckus is not taking prisoners. Bridget Macron, wow, and then yeah,
in a bathing suit.
No,
no, in a not in a bathing suit, in an American football uniform.
Oh God.
Maybe with a massive helmet.
Bleach my eyeballs.
Again, we disavow a lot of these comments because they're just too much. The spirit cooker lady you're talking
Abramovich.
about. What's it? Marina Abramovich? Is that her name?
Yes.
That would be something, actually. Yeah. I mean, I think that would work. Send David Lammy. Yeah, that's pretty. He's up there right now. And someone said, Kurt Boss says Greta. You know what? I don't think so. I'm really down with Greta at the moment. Greta was on the Conscience, the Gaza flotilla. Okay. Frank Romano's like taking them to court on behalf of all the people in the boat, including Greta. Greta was willing to get attacked by the IDF. Listen, I'm willing to forgive her climate crusading because she has absolutely stepped up on a real issue, not a fake contrived issue, but an actual real issue. And she's actually into it, and she's actually putting herself out there. That's pretty good. And she's getting shunned by all her handlers, by the way. They're horrified about what happened. They lost her.
That could be a trick, Patrick. I think her same handlers would love to have her attached to that to try to discredit it in the eyes of certain people because they're like, oh, I don't trust anything Greta does. But I don't know. It's just a theory.
I don't think so. But she didn't ask for any publicity with this Gaza flotilla. And she's there with all these people, some of whom we know. And she's not trying to upstage them or like photo op them, anything like that. She's just like there as an activist. I mean, fair play. I give credit where credit's due. Now we're talking here, Rupert Fellows, is Mark Levine.
Oh boy, did he step in it this week, didn't he?
What did Levine do? What did he, besides just being his normal annoying self, what did he do this time?
He attacked Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson made comments about what's going on in Gaza, and Tucker Carlson slammed Levine, if I recall correctly, and it caused a bit of a back and forth there. Tucker mentioned it in an interview with someone. I think he might have been talking with Dave Smith, but I can't remember. This was earlier in the week that I saw this. But it was interesting, and Levine came out, and it's on his X account, and sort of attacked Tucker. And Levine said, I'm trying to remember this properly so I can paraphrase it, but Levine said that something was equivalent to anti-Semitism. It was like one of those criticism is the same as anti-Semitism comments, but it was I'm gonna see if I can find it because it earned him so much of a ratioing on his X account that it was actually kind of glorious.
Oh yeah, Levine is okay. Here we go. We'll go back to Mark Levine in a moment, but maybe South Park is right, and Earth is just a cosmic comedy reality show to amuse the sick, twisted alien communities out there. It's not being ruled out. It is definitely looking more like a possibility every day now. The probability of that is increasing by the moment. Clown world, like the universe, is expanding, right? So, like the data centers, it's expanding here. Okay, Albo Martinez, aka Kurt Lazarus from Tropic Thunder, says send Diddy in a baby oil battle armor with baby oil battle armor. So, that would definitely put them off. Yeah, I think so. I think that would work. Sharon, here we go. Send Sharon Osbourne. Yep, but we can do one better than that. Bono. That really might annoy some interstellar advanced race. Is Bono. I mean, that's normally who you send to the World Economic Forum, right? And after the Bataclan Remember that? They sent Bono and the Edge to help package up that one. That was a good event.
Yeah.
Interesting media event they turned that into.
I got it, Pat. I got it. So Mark Levine went off on Tucker Carlson, called him a schmuck, and warned him, quote, "Don't screw with me, you little bastard," end quote. His comments followed an episode of Tucker Carlson show in which his guest, comic Dave Smith, and Levine had accused the Trump administration of anti-Semitism for calling someone a neocon. So this was Levine's response to Tucker having a discussion with Dave Smith. He said, he called him a schmuck, and then he said, if you use the word neocon, that's anti-Semitic. And his whole, like, the comments just exploded under it. Like, people have been using the term neocon for a long time to describe a group of people that are not all from Israel or Jewish.
Yeah. Here's an interesting strategy. Send Lindsey Graham. He would definitely want to bomb them. Unless, well, I don't know, some certain people Lindsey Graham likes, but definitely that would be an interesting strategy. Of course,
we know they would just send Elon Musk if this was a reality thing. They would literally just send Elon, and it would be done.
Yeah, it's unless the aliens turned out to be black, that might end up being a little bit of an issue for Elon if they were black. He's hoping not so. We're getting a lot of votes for Sean Penn, you guys. I can't even post them fast enough. Wow. Sean Penn is just dominating.
Did anyone drop Britney Spears into the hat? I thought somebody would have mentioned it. I
feel bad for Britney, quite frankly. I think she's been badly done by everybody, and she's just like turned into a complete she's having a mental breakdown. Clearly, speaking of mental breakdowns, what about sending Jordan Peterson?
We send him Lex and put him to sleep. What do you think, Lex Friedman?
Ruckus, you know how to deploy the WMDs, mate. Absolutely, send Lex Friedman. You can literally, they'll fall asleep and you can take over their spaceship and then reverse engineer all their tech. And they won't even know by the time they woke up, it'd be over. We'd conquer them.
Right. We got to send Bob Lazar and the secondary units to do all the reverse engineering.
But I think having them listen to Jordan Peterson for, let's say a couple of hours, wearing one of his bellhop suits might mesmerize them when he's doing his, it's here. And then what do you need to think about? And he's just doing all the hands. I think that would work. I like that. That's photon. That's very quality. Again, more votes for Sean Penn. What's going on here? This is crazy. We didn't solicit this. Wow. Okay. Have Bono perform to the Ukrainians. Bono's appearance with the Ukrainian military at Cannes Film Festival was Sean Penn's idea. That actually happened this week. Did you guys know that?
No.
That's really embarrassing. So that's what Zelensky was doing. He was at the Cannes Film Festival. So Shmuley was schmoozing at the Cannes Film Festival. That's where what is Zelensky's at? There's kids being like, they're literally kidnapping, young men off the streets of Ukraine, shoving them into back of vans, throwing them out to the trenches to die. And Zelensky's gallivanting around at the Cannes Film Festival
and getting called brave
by Shmuley. This is something is not right here. I mean, this is beyond wrong. This is all sorts of wrongs. Send Ben Stiller. That may or may not work. I think maybe I thought he was very good in Simple Jack in Tropic Thunder. I think that's one of the best roles, if not the best role Ben Stiller ever played, was Simple Jack.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it beat Dodgeball.
Meet the Fockers was pretty all right.
It's a good Christmas movie. I think that's a good. Yeah, I think so. It's not too. Oh, here we go. Oh my gosh, more Mark Levin stuff. I mean, I could go on about Mark Levin. I think he's got one of the most annoying voices in broadcasting, quite frankly. I don't know how he got to the position he got to. Like if you had to pick a radio voice of someone who you couldn't listen to for more than a minute and a half, it's Mark Levin. It's hard. It's easier to listen to somebody drag their nails down a chalkboard than to listen to Mark Levin. He's really hard work. You know, I don't like Sebastian Gorka at all, but if I had to choose between listening for a half hour to on my car, if I was stuck in traffic, right, going into the city, and it's conservative talk radio, and it's between Sebastian Gorka and Mark Levin, not based on content, but sure based on what you could tolerate physically, I would pick Sebastian Gorka because he's almost comical when he talks. It's almost fun listening to him because he's such a caricature of himself. He's like something out of one of those old, 60s Dracula movies or whatever. But some Hungarian count from some living in a cave or something. But Levine is just annoying. He's so annoying. You know who hates Mark Levine with a passion is Michael Savage.
Oh, I bet.
He's been ripping on Levine for like a decade. Everything I know about Mark Levine, I learned from Michael Savage, actually. I like Savage a lot. I can listen to him all day long. I think he's brilliant. And these guys hate him. All of these guys hate him. So Owen Schroyer, who is one of Alex's guys, he was ripping on Levine. That went viral. That was a massive clip. I like that. I like what Owen did there, actually. That was quality. Do you notice all the best anti-Zionist, anti-Israel rants on InfoWars are not from Alex? Alex can't do them. But Owen Schroyer and Greg Reese and all these guys can just destroy Israel. Alex just can't do it. It doesn't sound sincere. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Yeah, our buddy Jay Dyer's in on that too. I actually got to give Alex some props for not shutting that down and letting people on his network have that bit of freedom of speech there in particular.
Because it's not Alex. They replaced him with a clone. Come on now. That's all.
Yeah, right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yep. Bill Hicks went to the gym. This is pretty bad. Yeah. Bono annoys the Irish. He really does. He's not popular in Ireland, and that's not a good. You've really failed there. Again, this is just a very interesting line to put this question out to see what types of answers these people are coming in with. And again, we're just trying to let some of the pressure out of this week because it is. Listen, we're taking a little intellectual break here, but what we've all been watching and witnessing and reporting on is absolutely horrific. Between Syria, between Gaza, and everything else in between, it is absolutely horrific. So I don't want to sort of lighten any of that, but we do need to take the air out of the room a little bit. So this has been an absolute welcome diversion because it does give us a chance to take very easy and cheap swipes and a lot of people that we don't like. Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith. And Greg Reese. Yeah.
I liked White Adder's comment there. Send another species. Let's send Modang. Let's send Modang the mini hippo. Modang's super cute. Maybe they'd come in and be good alien overlords if we sent Modang.
Yeah, Henry Rollins did a rant, supposedly, says Zach, against Bono. I you know what, Henry Rollins just is not as edgy anymore as I used to think he was. But that happens to people, they just I don't know. He's like on the arts and entertainment channel more than I think. It's no more mosh pits. But yeah, we they evolve, don't they, right, Hesher?
Yeah, sadly, it's not the Black Flag days anymore.
They send Alex. We'll go and sell the aliens vitamins. There you go. Well, that's good. Yeah. Listen, yeah, you guys, thanks for coming along the ride, for the ride with us this week. It's been interesting. We'll leave it there. Let me take that tweet down because I don't want to end with that. But there's a lot of Henry Rollins fans, you guys. It's interesting. Yeah,
Man, Black Flag in the early days, awesome, absolutely awesome. Totally changed a lot of things for a lot of people, and even into the like 90s and maybe even a little bit longer. Henry Rollins used to have some, he said a lot of things back then that I would still probably totally resonate with. But same could be said for Jello Biafra, who like now can't even form a sentence that I could, understand or agree with.
Yeah, this is quality right here. This is a good one to end with, from Kurt Boss, who's distinguished himself this week with his comments. Trump would start a trade war with the aliens.
We need $600 billion to start, guys.
I've done a deal for investment met the aliens.
They bought my meme coins.
They're very advanced, much more advanced than we are.
We're going to create a nice new home for all the poor Palestinian people to live on the dark side of the moon. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, we're going to send them. There's deserts, beautiful deserts. We're going to make them great in Mars. Elon is going to make them great. We'll send them there. They'll be very happy. Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it there, guys. Bryan McClain, Ruckus, great to have you guys. Of course, it's been a very interesting and enlightening conversation. Again, yeah, they're all saying here, this was a great stream. Take care, everybody. Peace out, says Kurt Lazarus. Yeah, that's thank you. Our sentiments, exactly. Thanks, you guys. Final words, final thoughts. Direct us to your plans and your crimes that you will be doing this week.
Well, we're going to be committing many thought crimes in the boiler room. And we'll certainly be committing some on Midweek Wire this week. We'll be committing some pretty much every second we are alive, committing massive thought crimes and sharing as many of them with you fine folks as we can here at Alternate Current Radio. We really appreciate it. And as Patrick said in the beginning, please get out there, help us break these algorithms. We don't even like to ask, but we're at the point now where, like, if you don't actually like, subscribe, comment, share, do all those things, support the networks if you can, become members, all that stuff, we won't have the longevity of those that are being, suggested go to space to meet with the aliens and sell them vitamins and stuff like that. That's really not how we do things here. So it does require a bit of listener support. We need that at Alternate Current Radio. We need that at 21st Century Wire. And our friends at The Pulse need that as well as many other people. If you like what you see here, look at some of the people that we follow, that we platform, that we have as guests, and help them out too. At the very least, hit the subscribe and the like button. That's something that you can do for free. That literally takes seconds. Get on the emailer lists. All those things really help us. So yeah, I'll just throw that out there, and we'll see you on Thursday night for another Boiler Room. And Adam, you'll be able to find Adam at Weaponized News on Monday. Probably he'll tell you all about that. Daily Ruckus archives at alternatecurrentradio.com. Boiler Room archives, alternatecurrentradio.com. And yeah, thanks for having me, Pat. It's hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Bryan McClain, aka Hesher, featuring on the Boiler Room as well as on ThePulse.Today. We didn't have Basil available. We'll hopefully have him next week. He's doing stuff. He's on the road. He's a busy man, especially during festival season, as it's creeping in now in Britain. And Ruckus, go ahead, give us your SP for the week.
Yeah, sure. On the website now, I have a special place for all my appearances elsewhere. I'm calling it the Roundabout Ruckus. So that's the graphic right there for, you'll find this at the website, of course, alternatecurrentradio.com. But that's where you'll find my recent appearance on The Third Rail, hosted by Nature Boy. And then, of course, I've been tracking my appearances on Weaponized News, which I do co-host alongside Sam Cheney every Monday. If it's not a Monday, you'll usually find me on a Wednesday. But it's at least once a week. But the cool part is all you have to do is just go to alternatecurrentradio.com and you'll find the most recent post there alongside my daily Ruckus stuff, of course, which there will be a new one eventually. It's just I'm very, very busy doing all the other things, including some work that I picked up as the word slinger. In case you're wondering why I use that on my X account, AC_wordslinger, it's because I do business consultations, create websites, do graphic designs and things like that. So that's where my bread and butter is coming from right now, until all of you just like and share the crap out of everything we do, and we eventually can score like a sponsor or get monetized somewhere. I'm not holding my breath, but that's what I've been up to. So there will be a new Daily Ruckus eventually, as long as I can squeeze it in without losing the roof over my head. But in the meantime, you'll find me doing those things. You'll find me here on Sunday Wire when I'm invited, and you'll always find me on the Boiler Room alongside my friends there at the Social Rejects Club. So it's been a blast. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to do this again, Patrick.
No, thanks for coming, you guys. Appreciate it. It's been a great Sunday Wire, and we're going to leave it there. So take care, everybody. We shall see you in our travels this week. We're going to break a big story, by the way, probably coming up. It's going to we have a big one, which we're going to break next week. It's probably going to be the following week. But yeah, it's something that our team have been working on. So it has something to do with pipelines. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So looking forward to that. So yes, these things don't go away. In the meantime, beware of people like this lurking around. This is Technocracy Inc. That's the side that you don't see behind all of the flash and the dash. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, there is a technocracy that is waiting to take over and basically systematize everything that we're doing, every aspect of life, and then commodifying it, and then basically attaching it to some token or stable coin. That's kind of like what these guys are doing. So just a little reminder there. Thank you, Bryan McClain, aka Hesher, Adam Clark, Ruckus. I'll see you guys very soon indeed. That's all we've got time for. Again, I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. This has been an eventful Sunday Wire. It's been really amazing. This has been great. Appreciate our listener participation, especially in the comments. Amazing. You guys are providing us with so much material, especially during the last segment. So thank you to everybody on our streams, YouTube, Rumble, 21st Century Wire, also in the Alternate Current Radio community as well, and everywhere else that is feeding into this fantastic live broadcast. And thank you everybody on X for tuning in. Listen, again, a reminder, like and subscribe on YouTube, especially, and share our links around social media. The YouTube link, we're very, very throttled on YouTube. We have to fight tooth and nail to get any visibility. We're still basically tied down on Google and YouTube. So we're trying to do anything we can, any help we can. Like and subscribe, share, put in other comments, share our YouTube links on X or Facebook, any of our content. There's a lot of good content and interviews there as well. So please, everybody, we really need your help to make that happen. And of course, those of you who have liked and subscribed, as well as donated or subscribed to become a member at 21st Century Wire, just go to 21stcenturywire.com or to my X account there at 21Wire. You'll see a donate link that'll take you to our website. There's a lot of different options there. Best if you can subscribe, very small amount per month, but it goes a long way. And we have a great team, and we're expanding. We're doing new programming, and we're actually putting one out hopefully tomorrow. But that'll be that third program I was promising is going to begin. We have the first version of that. It's had a few issues that we're dealing with in terms of technical, but we'll iron that out. It'll probably be out Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll kind of roll from there. That's a more of an informal talk, outdoor setting, discussing the big issues of the week. So that's coming, and that's because of your support. So we need more support. So please think of subscribing to 21wire.tv, and we are overhauling the whole member site, and we're going to add a whole new sort of digital TV back end to that you can access from the comfort of your living room. So that's in the process. So again, that's all because of you. We need your help, your support to make all of that happen. So please consider that. That's all we've got time for this week. Again, thank you very much, everybody on the streams. Got a few tunes we'll be dropping here on our way out. So again, we appreciate all of your support, and we'll see you on the midweek. Got a special guest actually on Wednesday. Is going to be joining us, an old friend who's got the inside track on what happens, what is happening, what has happened in Syria. Somebody who's very, very much on the ground and very involved in all of that. That'll be very revealing, that conversation, especially considering Trump's recent theatrical performance in the Gulf. So looking forward to that. That's on Wednesday. And again, we're going to drop a huge story. End of the week, maybe next week. We'll let you know more about that. You'll see it anyway. Just keep an eye on our website, 21stcenturywire.com. Daily content, great research, articles, great material. It's all there. And there'll be more tomorrow and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, etc. So again, we're just ramping it up. And thank you for your support. Take care, everybody. All the best. I'm going to leave you with our friends, Red Rumble, and maybe a few other tracks before we go. But thank you. See you soon.
For in the final analysis, we all inhabit this small planet, and we are all mortal.
Lately I've been watching the world gone mad, brothers and sisters full to take a stand, to hate their fellow man, another man. Divide and conquer is the acronym plan. Distract the people, control the story. Don't believe your lying eyes, you know me. Stay in power, no matter what. Play with the doomsday clock. Turn a blind eye and gamble your trust, pushing us to turn to good. Corruption and lies
When you're tired of being just a commodity, you are the revolution. And when gaslit into another war, stand strong, because you are the revolution.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution
that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution.
They conspire against you, accuse you of terrorism, to steal your sovereignty. Hold fast, watch it collapse. I know that we still have the power. You are the revolution. They want to centralize, monopolize, control your thoughts. Breathe, go deep, go outside, put seeds in the ground. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. Alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution.
You are not alone. That you've been waiting for.
Oh, hi. Is this the time to the revolution?
Why, yes, my lady. And you're right on time.